you're not going to wash my feet. And Jesus answered and said, what I do, you do not realize now, but you'll understand hereafter. Never will you wash my feet. The audacity. You know why Peter said that? Because he was proud. You see, it takes humility to receive. Humility is being willing to receive without embarrassment. Peter needed to learn how to receive. The smarter you get, the harder it will be for you to receive from anybody else. The more capable you are, the more difficult it will be for you to let someone else serve you. James Sullivan, in a recent book, The Frog Who Never Became a Prince, faced a severe crisis. His wife, Carolyn, broke emotionally. She had emotional breakdown and was admitted to a psychiatric ward of a local hospital for an extended period of time. He was humiliated, broken, bruised, felt guilty, even resentful. In himself and toward God, he went home that lonely night after admitting her and tried to explain to Kathy and Scott, their two small children. And then he began to cry. First time ever for James Sullivan to cry before his children. Some of you never had. Tragic. Your children need to see you cry. Because in your tears, they'll learn more about you than they'll ever learn from your mouth. So he cries for the first time. Amazingly, people from the family of God at the church began to come to Sullivan's side. One dropped by and just embraced him. Others brought meals night after night after night after night after night. Others picked up the tab when they would go to a little cafe for a meal. Others cleaned the house. Many wrote emails and letters for him. Some stayed near in the midst of that crisis hour over the weeks until James Sullivan learned how to receive. So Peter said, you're not going to wash my feet. Please observe the response in case you think servanthood is a sign of weakness. Jesus said to him, if I do not wash you, you have no part with me. Servanthood is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of great strength. He told Peter to his face, you're either in or you're out. And if you're in, I'm washing your feet, buddy. He didn't say buddy, sort of in your face, Peter. Settle down, buddy. Give me your feet. They're dirty like everybody else's. So Peter, then jumped in, said something stupid. Wash my head, my hands, everything. Give me a bath. Jesus says, once bathed, always bathed. You don't need to be bathed. I just need to do your feet. So give me your feet. Humility doesn't play favorites. He also washed Judas' feet. When Judas went out into the night, verse 30, to carry out his awful deed, he went out with clean feet. Not only was he offered the sop, he went out with clean feet. Being a servant means you don't play favorites. You're not selective, you're not exclusive. You serve whoever needs to be served. And when it was all over, he said, "Do you know what I've done to you?" Watch closely. Verse 13. "You called me teacher and Lord, and you're right, for I am. I'm no less teacher, I'm no less Lord, because I've washed feet." Doesn't demote anything in who I am. "If I then, the Lord and the teacher, wash your feet, you would think it would say, you ought also wash my feet." Right? I would think that. And you know what? We'd all get in line to wash Jesus' feet. But that's not what he said. You ought to also wash one another's feet. What a privilege to wash Jesus' feet. I gave you an example of verse 15 that you should do as I did. If you know these things, and you now know them, blessed are you if you do them. But you haven't yet done them. More than likely. Ruth Harms Calkin, I think she's dead now, a wonderful poetess. She wrote this: "You know, Lord, how I serve you with great emotional fervor in the limelight. You know how eagerly I speak for you at a women's club. You know my genuine enthusiasm at a Bible study. But how would I react, I wonder, if you pointed to a basin of water and asked me to wash the calloused feet of a bent and wrinkled old woman day after day, month after month, in a room where nobody saw and nobody knew." Let me tell you something. If someday in the future God has really used you and put you in a position where you are the sort of a household name among people, and you are respected and loved and quoted and revered, and you have the opportunity to serve your mate, your spouse, during a lengthy illness, or to help some dear old saint who can't help herself, you will show the greatest evidence of servanthood in that act. I will say of you, you are one humble soul, which may be the greatest compliment you could ever hear. Because that is Christ-likeness at its best. Just remember, he must increase, I must decrease. Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on what? All my pride.